Hello and welcome to the Awesome 180 channel. I am Ashton Doctor, your habit coach, and today we're going to be talking about protein supplements. This is a question that I get asked a lot about because people are wondering whether if they start exercising, if they're not exercising, should they be consuming these protein supplements? Are they good for you? And frankly, there are just so many out there. How do you choose? Remember, if you like content like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and the little bell icon so you know when future videos come out. So, when you think about protein, you first have to understand what the meaning of a supplement is. A supplement is when you don't have enough coming from your food. That means you should first maximize everything that you can do with your food to get enough protein. Only once you do that should you think about supplementing with additional protein. Remember, it's supplementing, but you have to raise your natural food level as much as possible. And which is why one of the best tips I can give you is always think about what protein you're going to be using, what protein you're going to be eating on your plate first before you think about anything else. So instead of thinking about dal sabzi roti or anything else, think about what is the protein that you're going to be finding first, eating first, and then putting everything else in place. Now, when you think about supplements, the most famous, of course, is whey protein. So let's understand that. So whey protein is basically the discarded part from cheese manufacturing, right? Whey is that liquid that comes when you make curd, when you make dahi. So that liquid is processed to form whey protein. Now, when you're processing that out, when you're processing the milk, you get two forms of this kind of protein. You get a whey protein and you get a casein protein. Now, what's important to understand is that both whey and casein will be marketed to you by brands. It's important to understand which one is the one that we should be using, which one is the one we should not be using. So, typically, whey will be marketed as the fast-acting, immediately after a workout protein. Casein is going to be marketed as that protein supplement that you use just before going to bed so that it's a slow release and it will last you the entire night, keeping you in that state of getting protein as you're sleeping. Now, what's important is to understand that casein protein causes inflammation in our body. So our body doesn't know how to digest casein well, which is probably why it takes so long. And hence, as a result, it can cause a lot of digestive issues. And in the long run, it is not good for you. This whole thing that you see about milk, where people are talking about A1 milk and A2 milk, they're talking about casein A1 and casein A2. So it's clearly the problematic protein. So don't touch casein protein. Now, when it comes to whey protein, you can start different forms of processing it. So the first most common form is protein concentrate. Now, protein concentrate is the cheapest form of whey protein. It's the one that is found in almost all your products. And while it is good, there are a certain amount of lactose molecules in it, right? Which is the milk sugars. And many people who are lactose intolerant will find a little difficulty digesting that protein. So if you are that kind of person, you've had whey protein in the past and you felt your stomach feeling weird because of that lactose. So then try buying the more processed versions of whey protein. So you have whey protein isolate, then you have whey protein, hydrolyzed whey protein. So you get whey concentrate, whey isolate, and hydrolyzed whey. Hydrolyzed whey is the most expensive and it is the most processed, but it has the least amount of lactose, so it's not going to cause that digestive problems. Okay, so if you're sensitive, use that. So if this is the first time you're buying a whey protein product, don't stress out about it. Understand that it's being used the world over. It is fairly safe. Do it as an adult. Once you're post 18, don't do it if you're younger than that. But the way to approach it is to find a brand that you trust or a friend trusts. Find somebody who trusts this particular brand and then start buying it. Always look at the ingredients behind the packaging to see which one is the most processed, which one has the most fillers, the most anti-caking agents, the most preservatives, and find the one with the least amount of that and buy that. So, it's taken me 5 years of using whey proteins to finally identify a few brands that I like and trust. Now, I'm not being sponsored by any of these brands. I'm not going to share any of them because honestly, I haven't met the companies. I don't know if they're actually good, if they're or they're just lying behind the product. But what I do know is that once I have it, I feel okay. And that is the measurement that I use to figure out whether whey protein is good for me or not. Now, many people say that when you have these protein supplements, it is artificial, it does not digest properly, it stays in your system for a very long time. That's important to understand, because what they're talking about is not the whey protein itself, but all the other chemicals that are added to make it taste good, mix well, not clump up and cake up. It's all those chemicals that actually stay in your body for longer. So it's not the whey protein that's the problem, it's all these other things that go along with it. So if you're very conscious about it, the other thing you can do is buy something called a raw whey protein. A raw whey protein is a protein that has none of these chemicals inside. It has none of the flavoring or the coloring inside as well. So you're buying a natural product. I used to do that for the longest time as well, where I used to then add coffee to it, or I used to add cocoa powder or stevia to it, and hence flavor it myself, add my own fun and musty to it. I could make puddings out of it, I could use it in baking. So there were lots of different opportunities from that raw whey protein that I could use it for. So what I would encourage you is get into the habit of supplementing your protein. And the reason I'm saying this is because we are all chronically protein deprived. No matter how much we eat, there is no way we can get enough protein for what our body needs. Okay, there are multiple schools of thoughts on this. The one that I like to adhere to is that whole 1 gram to 1 kg of body weight, or 1.5 grams to 1 kg of body weight. So if you maintain this, you will know exactly how much protein you need. Now typically an egg is about 6 grams of protein. So you can imagine how many eggs you need to have to just come up to that level of protein that your body needs. Which is why a whey protein supplement is essential, because one shake is equal to about 25 grams of protein. So don't think about whey protein as cheating. Don't think about whey protein as chemicals in the system. Think about whey protein as this thing that is going to help you along, push you along. And there's so many urban myths around whey protein. I used to take protein, and then because I stopped going to the gym, I stopped taking the protein, and then all my muscles disappeared. I hear this all the time. And I tell them that you realize that the muscles disappeared not because you stopped the protein, but because you stopped going to the gym. Correct? So always question where you're hearing all these things from. Even this video, question this video. Do your own research. Go on to an online website, do your research, figure out which protein supplement is the best for me, and try it out. See how your gains increase. And if you're a person who's not exercising, don't start with the whey protein. If you're somebody who's not exercising, first start exercising for sure, it's essential. But once you do that, then start off with this whole whey protein bandwagon. Get on it and understand where you're going with it. So your simple habit is to start figuring out, do you get enough protein in your food? And if not, what is the best protein supplement that you can find? Now, this video is on whey protein and not on vegan proteins and pea proteins and all of that. I can do a separate video on that, because that is actually a longer discussion. Because very often, some of those proteins are harmful for our system more than whey is. And I'll explain why I say that maybe in another video. But for now, understand that it is not something evil or bad. And I remember the first time I bought a supplement, the people in my life who cared for me said, please promise me no more than 1 scoop every 2 days. Please don't do this. Why you're doing this? What is going to happen to you? And 5 years later, I'm okay. Everything is fine. I've just started making better and better choices. At the end of the day, protein supplementation is one of the most common supplementations across the world. So there must be something to it. Leave all these urban legends aside, experiment with it on yourself, see how you feel, and then take a call. Take an informed decision. If you found this video helpful and you like videos like this, please don't forget to hit like and share and subscribe so that others know about this. This is a question that everyone has on their mind before they start taking protein, whether it's good. And then once they start taking protein, whether there's a better one out there. And let me tell you, there's always a better one out there, because there are people who are conscious, and there are people who are trying to make better products for us. So keep trying new brands, don't be married to one, and see what works best for you, because what works best for me might not be the same. I'm Ashton Doctor, your habit coach, and remember, awesome lives, they start with awesome habits.